and a very warm welcome to Planet Hope, the programme dedicated to the United Nations Millennium Development Goals. In this edition, we're off to Sierra Leone. The West African nation was torn apart by civil war in the 1990s. At least 100,000 people were killed in fighting there. Huge proportions of the population were completely wiped out. Those who were left behind bear the scars of years of fighting. More than a decade on, Sierra Leone is still struggling to get back on its feet. 70% of the country's population still lives below the poverty line. And as this report illustrates, each new day throws up huge challenges for those who live there. This investigation was written and filmed by Mark Dana.
With
their crutches, they are almost proud. Like before each match, these football players have their pep talk. A one-legged football team. All victims of the war that ravaged their country, Sierra Leone, in the 90s. A machete wound to the arm or leg. Many of them were very young at the time. For them, playing football on crutches isn't a game, it's a sport. 2 practice sessions a week. Friendly matches in Freetown and abroad. Ball at the ready, they share their message.
We are the victim of this war in Sierra Leone. That is why we came together to embrace ourselves and embrace our people, the able people, to tell them that if we have peace to ourselves, what about you, the able people? Why can't you have a peace to yourself so that we can live together and move our country forward?
Playing just to forget about
we just play to forget our problems. Football gives us courage. We're gonna have fun and tease each other.
Crack joke towards each and everyone.
It was Mohammed who started the club at the end of the war. With 2 friends, he had just left a United Nations camp for amputees. Football helps him deal with his experience as a mutilated child.
Well, my personal story, at the age of 10, I was coming from school, I stepped on the landmines. So the landmines cut off my right leg straight off. So from there, I was in the bush up to 3 weeks, lying without no medical. So some of these Sierra Leone soldiers took me from the bush and brought me to the town, by the town where I was born, Blama.
Mutilation on a massive scale. Nearly 200,000 dead, including 75,000 civilians. 10 years after the end of the war, executioners and victims learned to live together. Ali was a child when rebels came and killed his parents, before going on to destroy his village. Enlisted by force, he joined the pro-government army. For 10 years, they became his new family. And for his new home, a tank like this one here.
This tank, during the war in this country, that's what we used to fight.
People in this country.
And this is where our machine gun was, for shooting at the enemy. And here, in this big hole, that was our anti-tank cannon that was loaded up from the inside.
This can save your life.
These tanks saved our lives.
This is the property way.
They were armored, and we lived inside day and night. I did everything in there. Everything.
Everything. Yes.
Let's go.
Like many former child soldiers, Ali is today an Okada, a motorbike taxi driver. 7 days a week, he takes locals from one side of Freetown to the other. 100 or so hours of work a week. With Ali, it's a whole generation that never went to school.
Hello, brother.
Osman, his neighbour, was also a child soldier.
Hi. Are you coming to pull in the fishing nets tomorrow morning with me?
No, I don't feel like it.
Like Ali and his friend, 5,000 children were enlisted and armed, with one mission only, to overcome their fear and go out to fight.
They use drugs.
They gave us drugs.
We smoke marijuana.
They made us smoke marijuana
We drink rum.
or drink rum
Fight. They give you drugs. Yes.
before going to the front.
Do you remember how many people you killed?
No.
There were too many.
People too much. So I never will check. And during the time
When
that-
you're in the heat of the action, you can't count.
Emotion for fight.
We don't even realize.
We can't check anything because we can't use bullets to go.
For me,
When I see you,
if I see someone standing, I shoot.
But when in like people like that.
And if I
just
see
to go
people
straight,
standing
right
in
from
front of me
shoot.
like that, I shoot, I kill.
You wait the bullet meet up you.
And if you're in the way of one of my bullets, you die.
Do you ever regret or feel bad about what happened?
Nothing.
Nothing,
I feel bad.
nothing.
Nothing.
In order to flee the fighting, a third of the population was displaced towards Freetown. Today, more than 1 million people live in the overpopulated capital, 90% of them in the slums. Here, the water is never treated. Children and pigs live side by side in the same piles of rubbish. In a humid, tropical climate, it's not surprising that cholera appears. It all started here in the slum of Marbella. Ibrahim is one of the volunteers in the area.
Yes, Nami.
His mission is to limit the epidemic by going door to door.
Blue flag volunteer, Namabila. Yeah. I just get understanding.
I just heard you had cholera. Now I'd like to give you some advice.
You see this?
You see this?
Where would they prepare
When you
food?
prepare food, first you wash your hands with soap and clean water.
Apple,
And vegetables, mangoes, carrots, everything that you eat needs to be washed with water.
tablet, fine.
It was her younger sister who gave her the cholera virus.
I thought I was going to die. I was vomiting all the time and I had diarrhea.
He said at that moment, okay.
I was aching all over and I was sore everywhere.
Now you for the
Before leaving, Ibrahim hands out soap and tablets to disinfect the water.
now aqua tabs. We call it aqua tabs. So I go.
Okay, I'm going now. Take care of yourself and do as I said.
Bye bye. Yeah.
The spread of cholera was extremely fast. For many humanitarian organizations, it has become a major emergency operation, similar to that of a natural disaster.
What's your name?
Sylvester.
Sylvester. What's your name?
Claire Berthemieux is head of operations for one of the humanitarian organizations in Freetown.
Mohamed, thank you plenty, yeah?
This type of illness, along with the flooding and all the waste that floats down, it creates skin diseases. If kids wash themselves in dirty water, it causes this kind of problem. And there isn't any health system to treat them, even though it's not that complicated.
Today, Claire is going to the Kington slum, where she will meet Daniel, a neighbourhood leader who is her local point of contact. He will give her the first update.
We are trying to help people to understand with little educational drama productions, and on Friday we'll organize a football game so we can talk to them about hygiene.
So this is terrible. And they are, look at this place. They are growing the gardens, vegetables. Okay. Do you think that growing the vegetable in this area with the waste is creating more disease as well
one way in the
from
other.
the food?
Yeah, of course, it has to be because we don't know what kinds of waste people are just dumping like that, and people are growing food. And
Okay.
Originating from these slums, the cholera epidemic affects all of West Africa. According to the World Health Organization, it's one of the worst in its history.
There were 16,000 cases of cholera in the country. It started in January and arrived in the densely populated capital mid-June, in the middle of the wet season. So the slums in the lowlands were flooded quickly, and it got out of hand here, and in the other slums of the city as well.
In these slums, no sewage system. In Sierra Leone, more than 1 out of 2 inhabitants still doesn't have access to drinking water. Musa Soko is part of a grassroots movement called WashNet.
Hi there. My name is Musa.
His objective is to have the authorities make access to drinking water their priority.
We're here so that everyone realizes how important access to water is. So we've written a water manifesto that we've handed out to the authorities.
It is very important because water is life, and we need water in this community.
People watch us this now, they will read and see, they will understand what are we going to do with water.
It really makes them feel a part of a process, that this is not just a single man business, but it's everybody's concern, because the issue of health, water and sanitation are all collective issues.
Sierra Leone still has to win this battle for water. After having succeeded in creating relatively stable peace, there's still a lot to do before these Freetown beaches can stop being used as rubbish dumps.
Well, that's it for this edition of Planet Hope. You can watch again on our website. Just log on to france24.com. That's france24.com. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.